Oh, hello and welcome. Lesson number 8 in Napoleon Hill's 17 Principles of Personal Achievement is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is faith in action. It is the intense emotion known as burning desire. It comes from within, although it radiates outwardly in the expression of one's voice and countenance. Talk Leadership with Cedrick starts now. Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. Everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we talk about, or where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first, you must grow yourself in order to grow others. Now, we believe that outstanding leaders like yourself help us to help others. So tonight, we have another dynamic leader with us. And I'm excited to have this person on Talk Leadership with Cedrick with us tonight. So let's just get started and let me introduce you to our guest. Now, every week I like to do a proper introduction of our guests. So let me do a proper introduction of Miss Kimberly Dellafosse. I won't say her middle name. Miss Kimberly Dellafosse. Kimberly serves as the Assistant City Administrator for the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana. In her role as the Assistant City Administrator, Kimberly is charged with contributing to the overall strategic implementation of the city's economic and community development plan. Kimberly's responsibilities as Assistant City Administrator also include coordinating youth and community research outreach programs. Her creative energy and enthusiasm have resulted in the creation of several initiatives within the city of Lake Charles, including Teen Connection, Community Connection, Love Your City, and a small business initiative called Lake Charles Launch. Now, prior to joining the city of Lake Charles mayoral executive team in 2017, Kimberly worked in various sectors of healthcare leadership, including quality improvement, case management, utilization review, and nursing education. In addition, Kimberly is the former owner of a day spa and a media relations company. Kimberly's honors includes being named Registered Nurse of the Year, fancy schmancy, and being selected as Thrive Magazine Thriving 30-something. Now, Kimberly's community involvement includes serving as a mentor for young people and as an advocate for introduction into STEM careers to underprivileged young people. Kimberly holds a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing from Dillard University and is certified by Estheology. From Avita Institute. And Kimberly is married to Mr. Mac Dellafosse. They are the proud parents of 2 sons, both of whom are in college, and one is a senior and one is a freshman. So they're just getting started with one and about to end with the other. So welcome, Ms. Kimberly Dellafosse, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you today? Go ahead.
I said, how are you today?
I am always doing great.
Good.
I am excited to have you here on the show tonight. And, Kimberly, I read your bio, but, our audience normally likes to hear directly from you as well around your background and your experience and all this type of stuff, kind of like bringing it to life, right?
Right.
Tell the listeners about your journey to leadership and how did you get to where you are today?
My journey to my current position actually, believe it or not, was not something that I actually planned. And I think that's what people oftentimes forget. Some journeys you can prepare for and plan for, and you arrive at a destination, and some just appear, and you just have to be prepared to assume those. And so I was working at a school-based health center, right? Just, taking me to this position right here. And you and I were coordinating one of those success panels. Remember that? The one at LaGrange High School. And one of the forums that I coordinated for that success panel was a mayoral candidate forum, because at the time, the city of Lake Charles was in the process of electing a new mayor. And that's how I met Mayor Hunter. And I'm assuming that, the way the forum was set up, and the way that I managed things in the forum allowed me to demonstrate something to him that led me to where I am. But what I will say, for people who often ask, how did you transition from nursing to government?
Yeah.
I get that question all the time. And I just say it's a set of there are tangible skills that you have to have, but there are some significant soft skills. And things like just being a leader, being confident, being a person who's organized, being one who's creative. One of my biggest strengths is the fact that I am a creative person. And just knowing that if given an assignment or given the opportunity, I will design a path. And I believe that. And so whether I came from nursing or wherever to where I am now, I really believe it's those sets of soft skills, those intangibles that really helped me be able to assume the role and thrive in it. And I just think in any position that I've been in, even prior to being in government, when I was in healthcare management and just, starting out as a floor nurse and even as a student in college, it was just having a real strong set of soft skills and work ethic to match it that really allowed me to transfer and be successful in any arena that I was placed.
Wow, and and it's definitely a different career path, right? Normally, you don't have nurses going into city government, right?
Right.
That's that creative side of you coming out and wanting to do something a little bit different, blazing your own trail.
Exactly.
So, Kim, you've had a lot of different jobs in your career journey, and healthcare, education, entrepreneurship, now government. What role did flexibility play in? Well, let me ask it a different way. How did each of those roles help shape your leadership style today?
Well, it's one thing that I know, and it's one thing that I teach my kids. And whenever I mentor kids, I tell them, you're not just one thing. You're not. You were designed with a multitude of talents. And so utilizing those strengths and those talents allows you to, to be flexible, right? And just knowing that you can do something. If the opportunity presents itself, you have to know that you have the skills and the wherewithal to make something work. I think that's the foundation of any leadership, right? Having the confidence in yourself and not allowing others to define who you are and what you can do. You have to define that pathway for yourself and then be confident enough to see the job through, to commit to it, to make sure that the outcomes that you bring, that you facilitate for an organization are, high achieving outcomes. I like to win. I like to do, I like to do well.
Yes, and folks, in case you didn't know, I really know Kimberly, and yeah, she likes to win.
I love to win. I always want to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Kim, in careers, you get a lot of different opportunities along the way. Some people are reluctant to take lateral positions, or maybe even step back in a position. Did you ever have to do that? And if so, how did that help you move forward to the next opportunity?
I'll tell you this, some people shun at the idea of a lateral move, but my lateral move in my career actually served as the platform to where I am now. So after I closed my business in 2011, I went to, I said nothing wrong with playing to win, exactly. After I closed my business in 2011, I went to work at a school-based health center, which was back in nursing and was a lateral move in a sense from where I was prior to opening the spa. And some may have been displeased with that, but that job actually allowed me to network with people. It allowed me flexibility in my scheduling, so that I could meet people, because I think it was in that time frame that you and I met. It
Mhm.
allowed me to have a flexible schedule to do additional things that I really enjoyed. And it was at that time that I planned and we worked on the success panel, right? Which
Right.
then introduced me to the person who went on to hire me. So I just look at a lateral move or an upward move in your career. All of those are opportunities, right? And it's how you embrace the opportunity, which will is what will determine your outcome, right? So
Right.
even with the lateral move, there will be opportunities and times where you could really show who you are to someone, and you just have to embrace that. And so I utilized that lateral move to be the platform and the springboard, better yet, to where I am now.
I like that. I'm going to put that in. You said embrace opportunity. A lot of people are afraid to embrace opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. So let's talk a little bit about, being in city government, right? When you were a young 19-year-old, 3 years ago, going
Yeah.
to college, you're going through nursing school. I'm sure you weren't thinking about being in city government, right? So,
No.
how have you made that transition, and what is it like day to day being in city government?
I'll tell you this: when I was 19, when I was 12, when I was 8, and when I am the age now, I always thought that I needed to be in charge of something or somebody. Maybe because I'm an Aries, okay? But when I was 19, obviously, I'm studying nursing. My goal at the time was to become a nursing professor and to write content for nursing textbooks. And so I did venture into nursing education, and I still love to educate people. I love educating people. And I think it's because I come from a family of educators. So that's in me. So I utilize that love and passion, and I bring it to my current job. And so opportunities to engage with young people in those youth programming opportunities are the moments that I really cherish. And then, just the creativity, right? So in nursing, there's some degree of flexibility, but at the end of the day, you still have doctor's orders and you're following some of the traditional protocol. But believe it or not, in my current position in government allows a lot of creativity, and it's just how big you're willing to think, right? And then once you think of this big idea, it's how hard and how much effort are you willing to put into making that thought, that dream, that brainstorm idea a reality. So I'm kind of definitely in my lane right now because of the opportunities. And I keep saying that word because that's truly what I see this as. It's an opportunity um, to forge new ideas, embrace, new concepts, and bring those to the city of Lake Charles.
Awesome, awesome. So two questions around that, and then I'm gonna move on. So, because I just think it's fascinating that you're thriving in that arena. So, what's been one of your biggest challenges being in city government, and then what's been one of your greatest joys?
So let me start with the positive. One of my greatest joys is the fact that it is a position that allows for a lot of creativity. It's also a job that has so many opportunities to learn a variety of content and material. And for me, I'm like a sponge. I want to go to different departments, and I do go to different departments as often as I can to learn as much as I can. Because, in order to be the best, you have to know, oftentimes how some things work just foundationally. And then you can build upon that, with your own spin on things.
Right.
So just the opportunities, and the ability to be creative have been some of my greatest joys. The ability, better yet, to create programming for young people and interact with young people here in the city of Lake Charles. And, some things have changed a little bit because of COVID-19, but prior to then, just interacting with young people and challenging them to see where they could fit into the city of Lake Charles to make it even better was something that I really relished. I would say one of the greatest challenges is just getting people to know that, yes, I was a nurse, but hey, I can make the transition, because I tell them when they ask that question, you are not designed to be just one thing. So that's my greatest challenge and my greatest joy in a nutshell.
Awesome, awesome. And when we met, when we first met, we were putting on these success panels. So let's talk
Right.
about success panels a little bit, because I don't know that everybody understands what a success panel is.
Yes.
It was really your brainchild, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit. And for folks in Lake Charles, you'll get to hear what a success panel is, what we do in a success panel, and what do the students get out of it, so that in maybe in the spring, we can start bringing these to local schools again. So,
Yeah.
how did you initially come up with the idea of Success Panel?
Well, for me, I really love big ideas. I love people who share big ideas, and then people who are willing to work to make those ideas come um, to reality, the reality fruition. So we were, planning and talking about what we were going to do for homecoming week, and it just dawned upon me that what 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 a better way to really engage with students than to just get them to talk and get them to hear big ideas, and then take their ideas combined with those of the panelists, and then really create a conversation and a dialogue about change. And so we selected some topics that we thought were engaging to kids, that kids would find engaging, better yet, and then topics that we felt like they really needed. And then once again, I was just trying to find people that I felt like could connect with young people, because that's one thing that's really important when you're trying to, work with young people through youth programming, is to have people who can really connect. But the goal and the heart of the success panel, which is a panel centered around big thoughts and bright ideas, is to create conversations, making conversations that are thought provoking, so that any attendee who leaves that panel leaves with ideas and tools on how to improve their lives and move them closer to success, but at the same time makes them think about their reality, makes them maybe even challenge their own reality, to say, I want to make a change, I can do better, there's more for me, there's success at the end of my journey. So the success panel really came from the idea of just my love of big ideas, and people who are willing to take those big ideas and make them tangible. And so I believe that the hundreds of kids, because I mean, we've interacted with hundreds of students through our multiple success panel. I believe that we really touched a number of kids' lives and, shared information with them that will facilitate their success.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And for folks, just a little bit more elaboration on it, success panels are, it's not just where you have adults talking to students. It's sort of like a Oprah Winfrey type of show, Phil Donahue type of show. And we have panelists, but students get to ask questions and engage with the audience and even test our ideas. And we had topics like entrepreneurship, financial literacy, civic involvement, healthcare, and we brought in experts from those individual areas to help engage with the students. And so, yeah, those success panels were definitely very good. And Cactus Parish, get ready because they're coming back to you guys this year.
Those kinds of conversations matter. They really do. Children don't oftentimes have the opportunity to have those conversations in school, right? Or at home. So being placed in situations where they can talk and express their ideas and engage with people who are, like we said, experts in the field is really, a unique experience for students. And I think they're better for it after attending.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you. And, entrepreneurship within the teen environment has just been awesome. So, I'm part of a group called the Black Entrepreneurs Institute, and we have we have a boot camp where we train entrepreneurs how to be an entrepreneur from beginning to end, from filling out your paperwork to having to thrive in business. But one of the things that we also do have is on Tuesday nights, we have a live show, and we bring in these entrepreneurs to interview and to feature them. And we've interviewed multiple teenage entrepreneurs. I mean, they're doing some amazing things. Kids, 11 years old, 14 years old, 15 years, 16 years old. In fact, Lake Charles, you guys may know one of the entrepreneurs that we did with, her show is going to air in December, is Miss Brooklyn Sibley, Carrie Goodley's daughter. We brought her on the show and featured her. And actually even Austin Dellafosse, right? We brought Austin on, but on this BEI show, Black Entrepreneurs Institute show, it's really trying to highlight these young entrepreneurs. And one of the things, parents, I want to say this to parents while we're here talking about youth, don't kill your kid's dream.
Please don't.
We had a mother on, her daughter started her business when she was 11. They actually bought her a physical building. She owned a physical building at the age of 11, and her business is thriving today. And it all started because her daughter said she wanted to have a business, and she put together her own business plan, and she walked her parents through it. Yeah. So when your kids are looking to be an entrepreneur or to sell something, don't stifle their dream.
Exactly. Entrepreneurship is so important within the youth community. And you're right. We just need parents to promote, encourage, support. And, if that child, even some of the, kids have outlandish, real big imaginations, but those are to be supported. And they'll find their way eventually. But yes, definitely, we don't want parents killing dreams. Don't want that. And we need more youth. We need more youth entrepreneurs. They support our economy.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. So, Kim, so tell us, what's your whole reason for existing? What's your why?
Okay, so some people might find this old-fashioned, but my why is centered on my family, my kids, and my husband. That's my why. And it might change as I go into, I'm about to become an empty nester at some point if they'll allow kids to go on campus. But my why for the last 22 years has been about my husband and my kids, because that's just my foundation. Now, in doing my why and knowing what that is, what it means to me, that doesn't mean that I compromise or I neglect what makes me happy, because I'm always going to search for the things that make me happy, because when I do that, I can be a better person, better mother, better wife. But
Sure.
my why at this moment in my life has been, you know, my family. That I go out and do my best because I want to be a good role model for my kids. I want my parents to be proud of me. So that's my why.
Well, that's a great why. I don't, somebody may laugh at it or not, but that's a great why. So
Yeah.
that is awesome. Now, Kimberly, we, it's amazing. But if at the end of last year, if I would have told you, hey, Kim, not only your subdivision, not only your local community, not only your city, not only your state, not only but the entire United States, in fact, the entire world would be shut down, and you will not be able to go to work. You'll not be able to leave your house and go to restaurants and enjoy the liberties that you enjoy because of a pandemic, right? You would have laughed at me, or people would have laughed and said, "You're crazy."
Yeah.
Right?
I would have never imagined that.
Yeah,
Something out of a sci-fi, you know, horror book. Yeah. Could
yeah,
never,
absolutely.
ever.
Pandemics are something we read about that happened in the 1930s and 40s.
Right,
Right?
right.
Exactly. Well, so now we're in the middle of this pandemic. So,
Mhm.
leading through crisis is critical moments for organizations, right? You can either lead through a crisis and get your team through it, or you can lead through crisis and really hurt your team. And Lake Charles has kind of had really a triple whammy. You've had COVID, and then you had two hurricanes back to back,
Right,
right?
right.
So, from a high level perspective, what's been your experience? What has your experience been like in managing through this pandemic and these hurricanes?
So it's a challenge. It really is, because it's what has occurred has changed people's way of life. And that's not something you can overlook. But I will say this, and this is just how I approach it. With the hurricane and all of the devastation that it's caused in the city, and the impact of COVID-19 on, economy and people's jobs, I just look at it this way, specifically for hurricanes. There are more opportunities that come after a disaster than the actual disaster, right? There are
Mhm.
more opportunities than limitations, right? I'll give you an example. People's roofs blew off their home, right?
Right.
The roof is gone. One roof. But in that roof being blown off, there's now an opportunity to create so many things that exist for your home. Opportunities. One devastation, multiple opportunities. And so that's the way I've approached what we're going through. And so I've really utilized this time to do research to see how other communities rebounded, utilizing, trying to be, once again, creative, thinking out of the box about how we move forward. We don't have to piece things back together like they were. We're looking for something more resilient. We're looking for something that'll sustain um, more readily in the future. So after any devastation, any challenge, any storm, figuratively, literally, there are more opportunities than limitations. And so that is exactly how I approach it. And so um, it can be overwhelming at times, right?
Sure.
And so what I have done and what really makes me motivated to still move is the fact that I look for creative opportunities to really implement in the city and bring, ideas to our team that can make a difference. And I really would love for people to look at it that way. Any storm, like I said, whether it's, the storm of the hurricane or a challenge in your life, there are more opportunities than those things that limit you.
Yeah, well, it's then projecting that out to the people and helping them see where those opportunities are in the
Mhm.
storm, right? Because when you're in the middle of it's kind of
It's
hard to
difficult.
see the storm.
It's difficult. Right. It
Um,
is difficult.
yes, absolutely. So, Kimberly, we have a segment on Talk Leadership with Cedrick where that's called "Would You Rather."
Okay.
So now, let's go. So, would you rather have the chance to design a new toy or direct a movie?
Direct a movie. I've written scripts. That's why.
Okay, all right. Would
Yeah.
you rather always have to enter rooms by announcing your name or by always having to do cartwheels out?
Announce my name.
Okay, all
I haven't
right.
done a cartwheel since like college.
Okay. Okay. Austin, it's your first exercise now. Activity is to get your mom to do cartwheels.
I'll stick with the treadmill.
So would you rather have no one show up at your wedding or no one show up at your funeral?
No one show up at my funeral.
Okay, well, because you're not gonna know.
I'm not, listen, that time is gone for me, so you don't need to be there. I don't need a funeral. It's done.
Would you rather own your own private island or own your own private jet?
Private island.
Private island. All right.
Sanctuary, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Last one. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
$100,000 in real money. That way I can invest and do the things with it that I see fitting than just consuming and purchasing.
All right. Well, Amazon's going to be allowing you to vest pretty soon anyway. You can do everything on Amazon, right?
Right.
You can buy a house now on Amazon.
Right. I know.
Well, thank you for playing an episode of Would You Rather?
I have a question for you. Would you rather be a Steeler or a Pittsburgh Steeler or a winning New Orleans Saint?
I would rather the Steelers lose every game. I would rather still cheer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But since we know that, we don't do that. In fact, we don't even know what losing is this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you love the Steelers. So. I love Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. With his hat on.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, leaders come in all different types of packages with different strengths, right? What strengths do you feel are important for that leaders must have?
Well, I think a leader must be able to communicate, and be effective in his or her communication style, be direct, not beating around the bush. Or leader needs to have compassion. A leader really needs to be okay with being uncomfortable sometimes, because it's sometimes in that uncomfortableness that a leader experiences that the organization can experience the most growth, because you might be pushing through for change, right? So, there are other things. Obviously, you have to be able to work with a team. Obviously, being able to work solo. But if you can communicate effectively with people, understand, be compassionate, so that you can, people know that you care. But you have to be able to be uncomfortable, because in leadership, not everything is going to be smooth sailing, and there's sometimes those great ideas and those necessary changes are going to rock the boat. And you just have to be okay with that uncomfortable feeling that may surround you for a moment, for that moment. But knowing that the end game is improvement.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So Dawn Hayes, obviously she's a Saints fan, but she said Saints baby. Um, and sorry, Dawn, but I just like winning. So we got 6 of these. I know Saints are like this, but 6 of these. You know what I'm saying? So, thanks for tuning in, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
So good leaders ask great questions. And so what are some questions that you've either asked people or someone has asked you and you said, wow, that's a really great question?
So I let me tell you, it's a question that I've asked, but it wasn't a question that I
Sorry,
asked.
Don said his 5 minutes is up. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. It's a question that I asked, but I didn't ask to elicit a response. And so the question that I asked was, can I? Or I'm even made the statement, I would like, right? And so it was me seeing opportunity or something that I was interested in learning about and just asking superiors, could I be involved? And I tell you, in asking that question, I've never been turned down because a real leader understands that when you have a person on your team who wants to learn and grow, they will ask for opportunity. They won't always sit and wait for you to give them. So some of the best questions, the best question that I've ever asked was, can I do that? I would love to do that. Oh, I would love to learn about that. Can I attend the meeting? I would love to see and hear more about that. I would love to know how that works. And so just the can I, is it possible, has been the greatest question for me. And it's led to some of the greatest moments in positions for me because I was able to learn, and gain, a new perspective on a position. So that would be it for me.
Okay, awesome. So there's a message up on the screen. Somebody liked your why.
Hey, honey.
Yeah, it would have been funny if you said, "No, I don't like that why." So, what do you think is the driving force in your life today?
The driving force. Well, I love to do things that make me happy, right? So I constantly seek those things out. So I'm driven by that. Like I said before, I'm driven by my family, right? And so I want to be a good wife. I want to be a great mother. I want to be a role model for my children. I want my parents and my grandparents are deceased, but my aunts and uncles, all of whom have made sacrifices for me along the way, to see that I appreciated those things. And so I'm driven by all of those things. But at the end, like I said, even though it may seem as if I'm working to please others in my description, ultimately it's what I find happy. I find that makes me happy. And then I can also pursue other things in the creative realm that really, make me happy and the driving force.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about networking and role modeling here for a little bit. So networking has its place in a career. So what role do you think that networking plays in matriculating the corporate ladder?
It's very important. Now, I'll tell you this, networking is one of the things, I'm an extroverted introvert. I'm an
Okay.
extroverted introvert. So networking to me sometimes is like, oh, but it is very important. And I encourage young people to master the skill, at a young age, because as you go along, as you grow into your career, having access to role models, other professionals is so important. And so I've chosen in my networking style, I really like to do a one-on-one. I'm not necessarily the best at walking into a mixer and just walking up to people, but I
Mhm.
do try to encourage others to do that because, listen, it's important. You meet people, and you once again you break that mold of that comfortableness, And so if you meet someone in a networking event and you can walk up to that person with a take charge kind of attitude, and you display and demonstrate some confidence, that's amazing, and people really respect that. So networking is important. It's just something I'm still working on.
Yeah, well, networking definitely has its place in everybody's career at some point in time, and it plays a role. I always tell people, look, sometimes, and I just had this conversation with a young man a few weeks, about a month ago, and he says, "Oh, I don't really do that because people are just sucking up to this person." So I said, "Well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
time out. You just said that this person got an opportunity that you didn't get, and you thought you were more
Right,
qualified than this person."
right,
I said,
right.
"So help me understand, what was the difference then? What happened?" Well, he was sucking up. I said, "Okay, so then I call it networking. You can
Mhm,
call it what you want, but at the end of the day, you wanted that opportunity.
mhm.
You didn't do anything to let people know you wanted this opportunity." And I always tell people, look, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you ask for.
That's true.
And
Yeah, that is absolutely correct.
yeah, and
That's
networking
correct.
helps you ask for those opportunities. And it's not necessarily you go up and say, "Kimberly, I want this opportunity." It's just, Kimberly knows what I'm interested in. Kimberly knows me. See, people are they're gonna buy from someone who they know, like, and trust. People are also going to promote someone who they know, like, and trust. They're going to give people
Mhm.
opportunities who they know, like, and trust. Um,
Right, right.
so awesome. So Heather, I don't know who Heather is. You may know Heather. Heather said, "I've looked up to her my entire life. She's an awesome role model." Um,
Oh, Lola.
so with that, we're going to talk about we talk about networking. I'm going to talk about role modeling. So I'm sorry, not role modeling, but mentoring
Mhm.
in a career. So one, do you have professional mentors?
So yes, I do have mentors, and so what's interesting is that my mentors are built into my friendships, right? So you're my friend. I have, two other ladies that I talk to all the time who I consider, true friends. But at the same time, you all offer perspectives to me from a professional standpoint that I really value. And so, although our conversation oftentimes is friendship level and friendship nature, you all and what you approach, how you approach your careers, the information, the experiences, your outlook, all serve as inspiration for me. And so I do, and I believe even if you reach the top of the chain of what you want to accomplish in your life, it's always important to still have a mentor or those people who still challenge you to grow, to be better. So mentors, are important to me, and I reach out to you guys. I'll pick up the phone and call and say, hey,
Mhm.
this is how I'm thinking. Well, what are your thoughts? Because, part of growth is getting feedback, because sometimes in our narrow perspectives, we don't see the other benefits. We don't see the other capabilities. And so that's what I believe a mentor could bring to a professional person's life. And so Very important.
Yeah, and for people who are listening, what Kimberly just said is definitely important. You should write down some notes around this, and I'll just add that in your professional career, whether you are in a corporate setting or you're in an education setting or you're an entrepreneur, you need to have mentors for every stage of your life that you're in, and not just one person, multiple people. Now, remember, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. Okay. So no matter how good you are only the average of the 5 closest people around you. Okay.
Right.
So if you don't have someone that's ahead of you that can help pull you up, you're falling backwards.
Yeah.
Right. So mentorship, networking is really important. And I know that, especially in our community, I hear people all the time say, oh, no, I'm good. No, you're not good. If you're not
No.
being mentored,
Right.
there are problems.
You're not growing. You're not growing because you're
Absolutely.
only confined to your own thoughts. And sometimes our thoughts are just limited to our own experiences.
Yeah,
And having people who've had other experiences, who've traveled other pathways and had, different journeys, can bring something to your life that you would have never considered. So yeah, we all need a mentor.
yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with that. So, growth, in order for growth to happen, it must be intentional. And that's, so what do you do for professional and personal growth yourself?
So I read. I'm not a real big. I know how you love to read books.
Mhm.
How many books have you read so far? You're always reading something.
Oh, yeah. And
You always, yeah.
I have
But
these 4 books sitting right here
yeah, I know that about you. I
that I'm
know
going
that.
through.
Well, for me, I love articles. I can read professional articles all day long and take notes and just grab ideas. So for me, that's a really big source of inspiration for me. So I
Mhm.
love reading articles. Love that. I love that.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to share some books with the audience that you should be reading. First of all, it's a Lake Charles native, a LaGrange High School graduate, Grant
Yeah.
Cardone, The Millionaire Booklet.
Yes.
Great book. His 10X principle is awesome. This book, we're leading a group through this book. We're doing a book study together, really. It's Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. There's
Awesome.
this
Love
by
that book.
Napoleon Hill. There's several different versions.
Yeah.
And this one is just Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. Great book. We're going through that right now. And then here's another book that I took my family through this book, and it's called How Successful People Think. You
Mhm.
can never get enough of big thoughts, big ideas.
Right. Right.
Everything that you do, the only difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is the way that they think. That is it.
Mindset. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, just a little plug for those books. So, you're an entrepreneur as well.
Mhm.
So, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs? Sometimes people decide that they want to start a business, or they're in a business and they go, man, I'm gonna throw in the towel because it's not working the way that I want to. I'm not getting the clients that I want to, and they want to just either give up or not even start because they think it's too hard. What advice would you give to them?
I would definitely say that an entrepreneur or an emerging entrepreneur needs to research so that you can understand the industry which you want to be involved. Learn as much as you can about, the particular business so that you can function in a higher capacity, right?
Mhm.
And once you understand the technical side of your business or those things that relate directly to what the business is, I also encourage business owners to understand, if not expert, but just to understand the other aspects of business. That could be how to manage your employees, right? Customer service, those other parts that are just as significant to your business model as the content of the business itself. So oftentimes, the entrepreneur says, I'm a great massage therapist, right? And so they can give a really great massage, but they don't understand other parts, other aspects and facets of their business. Like I said, the customer aspect, the bookkeeping. And yes, you can hire people to do those things for you, but to have a foundational understanding of those parts of your business is important. People can't scale up their business when they lack capacity, right? And
Right.
so understanding and researching what your business, how your business is currently functioning in today's economy. What are some projections on where they believe that particular business will go in the next 5 to 10 years? So researching and gaining an understanding of what that business is and what it requires. And then, like I said, understanding some of the other parts that are the daily grind of business, of being a business owner.
I like that. Yeah, that's great advice. So entrepreneurs, if you're listening, that is some really good advice that Kimberly, I might have to pass the plate tonight. That right there can help you go a long way in your business. So we'll just put up that PayPal link and you have to pay for that part of it. Right. So, so now, Kim, so Mac's not in the house. Austin's gone, so he's not saying, hey mom, you gotta eat this way today, and they're like, it's
Yeah.
four walls. So what dessert are you getting?
I'm a big sweet person, so it could be anything, but probably ice cream.
Ice cream. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Bluebell, what kind? What flavor?
Are there any other companies other than Bluebell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know any other companies existed.
Yeah, Bluebell is it.
Yeah, pralines and pecan. Like, does anything else exist?
Okay. Dawn says she's getting rum cake. I'm gonna have to invite Dawn on the show because she's like, boom, she has all
You'll
these.
love Dawn. Yeah. She's an educator. Yeah, you'll love Dawn.
So, Kim, you've had a lot of success in your career, but we've all also had failures, right? And so tell us about a time that you failed and what did you learn from it?
I'll tell you this. I learned more from my failure than any success I've ever had. The failure that I'll use as an example is when I closed my business, right? And I can give the advice to entrepreneurs that I just gave because it was the advice that I needed, that I wish I would have had going into business. But I'll tell you this. It's the concept of falling forward. If you can look back at the experience and decide and determine and identify, what did I do wrong? How could I have done it better? What did I learn from the experience? What are some unique skills that I learned in the time that I did whatever I did prior to considering a failure? If you can take all of that information and catalog it into your thoughts and then apply it to your life, you will move forward. So I'm telling you, my greatest lessons came from the lessons that I learned when I had to close my business. And it's those unique lessons that actually help me more today than my experience as a healthcare manager or in healthcare itself. It was that moment when I had to decide that I was going to transition that I learned the most. So I'm thankful for the situation.
Wow, well, that's awesome. So two more questions. What's the best thing you would say happened to you this year? I mean, besides getting invited to come on the show, we won't talk about that, but
I'm gonna say 2020. Okay. So the best things that happened to me. So I'll tell you. So a couple of things. So my youngest son graduated from high school, and my oldest son is about to graduate from college. So I'm excited about those things. And my youngest son was able to secure scholarships that pays for all of tuition, room and board and everything, so he can go to college free of charge. So that made my husband and myself very happy.
That's always a happy
Happy.
day, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So the last question is, so if there was a book written about Kimberly, well, I'm not going to say your middle name, Dellafosse, what would the title be, and what would the on the back of the book, what would the summary say about you?
Okay, so the title of my book would be "She Knew She Could." She knew she could.
Okay.
Like I told you, since I was 9 years old, 8, 12, 10, 11, I always had a feeling, so I guess intrinsically motivated, that whatever I set my sights on, I could accomplish. So I'll give credit to my mother.
Hold on.
For what?
I like this comment.
Oh, you see that? I told them. You know,
yeah, Tanya, you're right. I thought she was going to go too. I knew Austin was like, oh my God.
I still might. There's still an opportunity. I'm not ruling it out.
So you said she knew she could, and then you were talking about the summary.
Yeah, well, I was saying she knew she could, and I said I guess I'll credit my mother, for raising me and always being so supportive and encouraging. I'm telling you, she was never a dream killer. Yes, Kim, that you can do that. You can do that. Yes, that would be great. And so I just have that feeling of whatever I set my sights on, like I said, I will be successful at it, or I at least will accomplish it. So that would be the title. And then the summary would be something like, she lived her, here's a story of a woman who dared to defy odds and never allowed anyone to define what was going to be her existence. And
wow. That's powerful. I like that. I got to show you this comment from Dawn.
Oh, Dawn is so sweet.
Awesome
Thank
comment.
you.
There you go, Dawn. We're going to get her to cry tonight.
Oh, I'm going to get y'all teared up. Now, I haven't worn makeup like all during COVID. So I have makeup on tonight. Y'all make me tear from mess up my eyeliner.
That is awesome. So Kimberly, thank you very much for coming on Talk Leadership with Cedrick. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully you did as well.
I did, and I hope your viewers were able to gather some nuggets that they can apply to their lives. I hope I was helpful and a little entertaining at the same time. Thank you. You're doing a great job with it, with the shows and the segments.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much. So, folks, what I want you to do, I want you to remember in just about 10 or 15 minutes here, we are going to switch over to our Empowered Living platform. In our Empowered Living platform, we have a little over 2 million subscribers there. And tonight on the Black Entrepreneurs Institute live show, we're going to have 3 boot camp graduates that are going to be talking about their experience. So I want you to tune right over there with us and listen to them talk about their experience. Then you're not done. Come right back here after that show is over at 7:30 Central Time and listen to Talk with TK. She's going to be on with her Mindset 180 Academy, and she's going to be talking about mental performance for high-profile athletes and how to perform and stay at that high level and not let your mind, your thoughts get in the way. On Thursday, remember, 2 p.m. Central Time, you can always catch Talk Leadership with Cedrick on the radio at ibgr.network. Go download the app and you can see all of my podcasts there. Always remember, folks, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Don't be on the menu. Thank you and good night.